What's going on, gamers? We got something to cover here that a lot of people do not know about, and this is something that's been here, but we got an Xbox fanboy to expose. Now, one thing I have to tell you about this guy, Astle, is he's one of the biggest frauds from the Xbox world, and there's a lot in there, so it doesn't surprise me. So he's trying to make it seem like Sony has done something to kind of combine it with the physical cancellation, which that's all Sony's fault. We've done that on this channel. But Microsoft gives you 2 years on this topic, but though things are a little bit different. But we're going to find out where this came from, and if this is true. Yeah, it gets very interesting. So are you ready? Like, comment, and subscribe. Become a member. It's only $3, and leave a tip down below. Help your boy out. All right, here we go. Astle says, and guys, this is about to get interesting. Sony, drum roll, has crossed the lines, or all the lines with this. First of all, this is not Sony that did this, but get ready because this is about to get interesting. PlayStation will close your account. You're like, wait, hold on. Is Sony about to, you know what I mean? It's like, and you will lose all your games. Hold up, now it's all digital. AG, what are you talking about? If you do not log in for 3 years, let's stop right here. Now, when you first read this, because you don't have the full intel, this is why this guy's a fraud. You would say, oh, hell no, that's crazy. But who's not going to log in for 3 years? Sometimes that may be possible. Some people may have to go to the military. But, you know, sometimes you don't turn on your console for a while. 3 years is a lot, though, right? But is this the true story? No. This is about to get very interesting. But is this something that's actually somewhat relevant? Yes. Even in the Xbox world and in other aspects. And the media remains silent about it. That's why AGN is going to cover this, because he's not going to give you the fake point of view. The media are not your friends. Neither are frauds like you. You're fake. You're one of the fakest people I've seen on Twitter. I can't take anything you say serious. And this post has also started a trend on Twitter, and it's his post that everybody is replying off of. There's one other one that is just as big as his, but this person had somebody come and tell him the truth. So it went up to 206,000 views. Let's read this right here. PlayStation kills the disc, but the real threat is hidden in section 21.2 of the PlayStation Network. And this is here, but where does this come from? Why does Sony do this? Is Sony doing this, or is Sony dealing with an enforcement in a certain part of the world that is not over here in the USA? Yeah, they are. Are you ready? Okay, so guys, before we get to this, let's go to something real quick. Let's back up here. This is the other guy. This was the other guy, Pachanga, who had it. He's up to 342,000. He says April 2026 update of the General Terms of Use, CGU. We're going to explain what all this means. Section 21 states that if your account is inactive for more than 3 years, Sony will delete it and your digital games and DLC will be lost. This action is reversible. Then he says, bravo to you, PlayStation. Now, let's get to the real thing. Prince says it's called GDPR, and it's for all companies, businesses, and Sony's have no choice but to follow. Stop with the crappy tweets, please. What he's saying is exactly correct. This is a European policy that everybody over there has to follow. And he's like, all right, I'm the bad guy, sorry. I wouldn't say you're the bad guy, but if you did that on purpose knowing that, then you're a fraud. But if you just did that because you just tried to warn people and help out gamers, there's nothing wrong with that. Going down again, Uber says, yeah, but you can't really blame Sony for this. It's the European regulation on data protection. Xbox fanboy exposed. They have to keep your data for a reasonable amount of time to protect you and prevent any leaks or loss of data. You should take it up with the European laws instead. Yeah, correct. The European regulation. That's where that comes from. This guy says Sony drops the physical, yet you can bet they couldn't care less about the Europeans' decisions, deserved, whether it's in their jurisdiction or not. Well, here's the thing. You have to put the blame and look at the source where it comes from. Would Sony really care or not? I mean, that's going to make them more money? Yeah, probably. But that's not their terminology. That's not their terms. They didn't make that up. Now, if they said that they were canceling physical games, then they have that coming from them. Oh, yeah, this would be a major problem. But the thing is when somebody else is doing that, then whether physical games is there or it's not, and the majority of the industry that's digital, you're still dealing with the same law, but it's not Sony's law because everybody else is hit with the same thing. And if you're trying to make PlayStation look negative because of that, then you're being an idiot to me because you're not being professional and you're not being honest. It's like, that's not Sony's law. So That's what we had to cover right here real quick so that we could get back to the Xbox Fanboy right here. And this is where things get interesting. So it says right here, under the PlayStation Terms of Service, Section 21.2 specifically addresses inactivity. If you do not use your PlayStation account, this is how it really works, for at least 36 months, Sony reserves the right to close it. In this case, you will be contacted via your registered email address and given 6 months, like 6 months in advance to the 36, to log in or contact them to keep it active. You can say, hey, no, I'm in the military, I'm doing this and that. Sony just wants to make sure you're there. Maybe you may have passed or whatever. They're like, okay, if your account's not there, then let's just close it up, right? So it's not like if 36 months pass, and this is a European law, it's just deleted. No, they send you an email and they give you 6 months to actually reply. And if you just hit a login, it's gone. Or if you contact them and say, hey, I can't do that because I'm doing this and that, they're like, okay, so you're still there. We know, things are going on. Though, I mean, this is still weird, but I don't think anybody would not log in from PlayStation for 3 years or 3.5 because you got 6 months after that. Unless you're just done console gaming. And if you never come back, what does it really matter? You're never coming back again. But that's the way that this actually works. Now, the Xbox Fanboy here is so insecure. He does this all the time where he tries to make Xbox look positive, but it's all fake. And PlayStation look negative, and it's all fake. And he manipulates things and grifts and points things in a certain facet 24/7, this account does. And I got so annoyed with it that I stopped taking it serious. But I'm not the type that I get so butthurt, I go and block him. As you see, I didn't block the guy because I'm not going to do that. But oh my God, like some of the posts I've seen him do over the past 2.5 years, I'm like, this dude is so fake. It's not even funny. And there's too much of that in the Xbox world. So there's the idea right now. It says, be aware that once your account is closed, and things are about to get interesting in the comments. Stick around. It is irreversible. You will immediately lose all access to PlayStation Online services, game license, subscriptions, and any digital products purchased with that account. Now, this right here is absolutely diabolical. It's like, whoa, hold up here, man. That right there is not good at all. So, but I would never see myself being active for more than 3.5 years on PlayStation because you get a 6 months warning. But the fact that you lose all game licenses, subscriptions, like what they should do is just close down an account. And then if you come back, you should be able to reactivate it and continue. But no, like they said, it's irreversible. So that right there to me is pretty crazy. And then he says, source. If you have not used an account for at least 36 months, we may take steps to close it. In that case, we will contact you via email, and we just read that. So he says, also, you wonder if Xbox is doing the same thing. The clear answer is no. They can deactivate your account for inactivity, but only if you purchase nothing. If you purchase games, your account remains active indefinitely. I wouldn't say that because they will still delete that email address tied to that. And if that's the only email address you have, you're going to have to make another one. So it says exceptions. That's why he tweets out to show this only exceptions. The activities below are exceptions that will result in Microsoft extending your account's active status, even if you have not otherwise signed into your Microsoft account within a 2-year period. The thing with Microsoft, though, is that they don't give you 3 years. They only give you 2 years. So it's actually worse when it comes to time limit. And if you're not around, then your account can get screwed over. It says purchases. If you have used your Microsoft account to purchase or redeem or access a purchase of a current Microsoft product or service, your Microsoft account will remain active and Microsoft will not close your account due to inactivity. No, this does not apply to gift cards, so certifications or subscription-based purchases or services. It only applies to a purchased product. And we have to find out what they mean by purchased product. But Sony gives you 3 years and a 6-month extension. So actually, Sony's giving you 42 months. Microsoft's giving you 24. You decide what you think is worse. The only thing that I don't like is that you're saying that I could lose my digital licenses. Definitely after you're announcing what the hell's going on here. So it says, this guy says, Microsoft gives you 2 years to delete your accounts. Do research before you try to do the stupid gotcha moment. This is right here. Microsoft deletes inactive accounts after 2 years of no sign in activity. Because your Xbox account is tied to your Microsoft account, you must sign in at least once every 24 months to prevent deletion. However, your account is exempt from deletion and considered active if any of the following apply. Purchases, active subscriptions. You currently have active subscriptions like Game Pass tied to the account. Store publishing. You have published an app or game to the Microsoft Store. Account balance. There is unspent funds on your account. Which I think that policy is a little bit better. He says your account becomes inactive until you activate it again, and there's nowhere where they say you'll lose your games. Nice try. True. They didn't say that. And this guy says, so let me get this straight. You worried about not logging into your account for 3 years, meaning you haven't played a game in 3 years. So what you're saying is people that buy physical don't ever play their games then, because if you did, why are you not logging into your account? He says, whatever the reason, it's illegal to take your games because you're not logging in for 3 years. What if someone wants to sell his PlayStation and come back later? Or if you go to a job in a foreign country for more than 3 years, there's many reasons. I can understand that. That's a fair point. But the point here is that he didn't explain that this is not Sony that's doing this. It's the European regulations that activate that type of law. Now, Microsoft has that over here in the USA. Interesting stuff. So I want you guys to let me know what you think about this. This guy says, no one believes your post. You're a jackass grifter. I mean, he is. There's no doubt about that. Everyone mentioning, oh, why does this matter? Why aren't you playing games on your console? I have been a diehard PlayStation user for the past decade, accumulating thousands of games, but I've switched over to a different platform since then. Why should they erase all my titles? I understand. This guy says, we all know Xbox is long dead, but a little reminder. Yes, under Microsoft's active policy, accounts that remain inactive for 2 years may be closed and permanently deleted. Yeah, I mean, they just told you that. So there we go right there, guys. We kind of get the idea. And if you go over to What's-His-Face's post, like I said, down here, you have people saying you can't blame Sony for this. It's the European regulation on data protection. This is something that's going on over there. So it's kind of like not an equal comparison in equal territories. And you're like, wait, okay, so why is it different? Well, because Microsoft gives that to you no matter what. And you have 2 years. Sony's is a European regulation. Different. That's why you have to understand everything in the full context. And this guy says, yeah, at Microsoft, that's only 2 years, but have you talked about it? Those are European rules, so coming down on them for that is just pointless. He says, I haven't been with Microsoft since the end of 360. It's up to Microsoft players to open it. This guy says, it's surely related to GDPR, so that's Sony's fault here. He says, whether it's within their remit or not, Sony is heading in that direction. It is just as guilty. Well, they're guilty because you don't have physical preservation and that can be upon you digitally. Because Sony made that deal. But like prior to that, no matter how you look at this, it's a GDPR problem in the PlayStation world. In the Microsoft world, it's not specifically just GDPR. It's something that can affect you also in USA. That's why I say it's different, because it's a Microsoft account, even on a PC and everywhere else, compared to a PlayStation Network account, which is specifically for PlayStation. You see what I'm saying? This is where we have to understand both in the full context. But the Xbox fanboy is not doing this correctly. He's just trying to make it seem like that Microsoft's is better, but really it's different. And now, if you were both in Europe, then you would be surprised at how this works. But that's not the case. No, this is applying to PlayStation gamers in Europe. But hey, PlayStation is huge in Europe. So it's a thing for people who are living in Europe. Right? I'm in the USA, so I'm not really worried about that, and I'm always going to be fine when it comes to that. So there we pretty much have it on this topic. Interesting stuff here, where Xbox fanboys, once again, are so insecure. They really want to make it seem like that Xbox is somehow better to be on than PlayStation, when really not even close. Sorry, Xbox, yeah, it's dead, and there's not much hope for it. The only thing you have left is publishing. And that is not exclusive to you. It has to be everywhere. Your hardware, nobody cares about it. Nobody's going to buy the Xbox Helix, I'm telling you. PlayStation 6 is still going to be fine. Even with all that drama going on, I've seen it with Pokemon, and it still ends up breaking records. That's just how this world works. Sadly. Yeah, I mean, you can sit here and say what you want, but it's like, PlayStation is not going to die. I'm sorry, I just know this because I know the medium, and I know how the horde mentality is. Like, Xbox fanboys are looking for some sort of ground right now to make themselves feel better about their failures. But whether you look at PlayStation in whatever way you want, it's not going to make Xbox better. The only way for that to be improved is if Microsoft decided to do things better, and you decided not to keep taking a load in the face and being morons and grifting for a dead brand, and would have fought for it to actually be better. That's the only way Xbox can be helped. Not hoping that PlayStation gets destroyed. You're stupid. That's just hurting gaming. And that's the problem with Xbox fanboys and their insecurities. They don't understand that. So that's why they try to paint things a certain way. And the whole time you have been doing that, your world has been getting worse and worse. PlayStation is still going to hit over 100 million. GTA 6 is going to break records, and it's going to do it with PlayStation. There's nothing you could do about that. That's just the way that it is. But let me know what you guys think. As usual, leave a comment down below, like, comment, subscribe. Later, keep on gaming no matter what platform you're on. And remember, this stuff that Sony is doing with physical is bad. They still can reverse it though. But where Xbox is at, it's not reversible. It's dead. And there's not much you could do about it. Sorry, later. And they may sell it off. Everybody knows this. You can't trust anything that's going on over there. Everybody knows this.